Yes, people, welcome to the Shoestring Budget Podcast. I am joined by a blast from the past. So if you actually followed us back from our early days, you'll know that the Curly Llama Games is none other than our resident Chelsea fan, Kieran. Big shout out to you, Key. How you doing?
Jeez. Bruh, it's been a minute.
Just a bit. It's good to have you back, and we get to pick your brains a little bit about Chelsea, a team that I haven't watched a lot of, and when I have watched, I've not been particularly impressed, if I'm totally honest, but we'll dive into that. Big shout out to Pete and to Katie in the comments. Big shout out. Pete, drop a comment onto the group chat and make sure you try and get all the lads in. It would be great to have as many people on the stream as possible. But let's jump straight in, Key, first. So now, this is a strange season for both of us. You know, we're 10 games in, only a point separates the two teams. What are your thoughts? How do you feel?
About the season or
about the season so far?
I mean, it's a transitional season for us. You know, it's. I mean, it was hindered by by Tommy leaving. You know, making it a little bit more transitional, but. You know, I think it was always going to be a transitional season, personally, regardless of what happened. And you know, losing Tommy Tuchel changed a little bit of things, but I think in the grand scheme of things will be good. Things will be good. I think it's a transitional season, like I said, for both teams.
No, man, that's fair. I've got a couple of comments coming in. So Pete said here he's excited about the game tomorrow. Shout out to you, Pete. And I think this is Paul has put, good luck on the stream. Sadly, I can't stay, but I'll drop a like. Thank you anyway. We appreciate the likes. So thank you for that. Yeah, on that Thomas Tuchel thing, obviously it's a bit of old news now. We've kind of moved on from that, and Chelsea have definitely moved on from that point. It was a sacking that I think shocked the footballing world, I think it's fair to say. But I know you personally were a big Tuchel fan. Do you think it was the right decision by the club to sack him?
I think in the grand scheme of things, you know, if you look at like the things they're trying to implement now with the RB kind of formula or the City Group kind of formula, you know, they want that kind of standardized football kind of, you know, academy-esque kind of system going on in the professional leagues. I think in the grand scheme of things, it's good. You know, Potter is a really good communicator, and that doesn't mean that Tuchel's not. But you know, Potter is much more open to, you know, communicating his ideas across and talking, and you know, whereas Tuchel is, even at, you know, PSG and Dortmund, it was widely reported he just wanted to manage. He just wanted to be the manager. He just wanted to be the coach. You know, he didn't want to be caught up in the day-to-day activities. He didn't want to be talking to the ownership about what he's doing, why he's doing it, you know, the justifying. He just wanted to be left to his own devices, you know, let the results speak for themselves. And I think for a Roman manager, perfect, because, you know, obviously Roman was cash injections, but also, you know, for the most part, he was only really active when it came to sacking and hiring managers. But you know, for the type of football formula, so to speak, that Bowley's trying to implement here, I think it was the right decision. And Tuchel is still a world-class manager, but for what they want to do with the football, I think it's better to get that vision, you know, all across board, get everyone on board, and go from there. So
no, that's fine. We've got here Asif. A big shout out to Asif. Thank you for jumping in the comments. Hi, mate. Feeling good to catch your show live again. We've missed you, Asif, so thank you so much for joining in. And get your comments in as well. We've got Kieran on, who is a Chelsea fan. So if you've got any questions about Chelsea or anything that you want to ask, then please just chuck it in the comments and I'll make sure we get to you. But yeah, I must admit, going back to obviously the changeover at Chelsea, I was really shocked that after spending the money that they spent in the summer on seemingly Tuchel signings, that he was sacked almost a game or two after the transfer window. That really did stun me. We actually did a video on that, which you can check as well on our podcast site. But with Graham Potter, you seem to, I mean, he's not lost a game. Yeah, I don't believe he's lost a game, and you're coming into this game on a great run of form. Not lost in your last, I think, 5 games now in the Premier League. I think it's going to be an interesting game that we're going to experience tomorrow. But I must admit, with Graham Potter, the football that I've seen, even under Tuchel to an extent, I wasn't happy with. But the football I've seen under Potter, I've not been blown away by either. Do you think there's a big difference, or do you still think that Potter's trying to implement his ideas onto the squad?
Yeah, I think it's definitely Potter's still trying to find his feet with the team. Um, Obviously, he hasn't had a preseason. It's the biggest managerial job he's ever had. So he's not familiar with the big names, big talent, and the midweek games every other week. He's not familiar with the demand that comes with managing a big club. So I think for Potter, it's a much a learning curve for him as it is for a lot of the players too, because he's drastically different than the type of football that Tommy had us playing towards the end of his tenure.
Yeah, and what I must admit, what I do like about him is he seems to have changed it almost instantly in terms of formation, in terms of style. Obviously, they're not there yet, but I like to see a manager sort of stamp his or her, authority on a game and what their vision is. I like to see that, so I will give that to Potter. Now, obviously, playing at Stamford Bridge tomorrow in an evening kickoff. We're going to go through the team news that I have. Obviously, the biggest news that has come out, certainly from our camp this week, not that this will excite you or anything like that, but Cristiano Ronaldo has obviously been dropped for this game. And I know you're not really in tune maybe with Manchester United, what's been going on at the club yet, but it's really split the fan base. And I'm surprised that it split the fan base to the extent that it has. Now, Twitter's not always the best place to sort of gauge a fan base. I get that. But when you see so many posts about Ronaldo should be in the squad, he should still be included, Eric Ten Hag's made a mistake and all this, I'm really shocked, because all we've ever cried out for since Ferguson is a strong manager and someone that can make tough decisions at tough moments. And then all of a sudden we get a manager that does that and people moan. Asif's put here, Eric Ten Hag's booting up. Next is Chelsea. Yeah, we'll get on to that, Asif. We will get on to Eric Ten Hag's run so far. But from a United point of view, I'm really happy that he's dropped Ronaldo. I've not been impressed with the way the squad have played with Ronaldo in. I think all our best performances have come when Ronaldo's either been on the bench or out of the squad. So I'm excited to see if Manchester United can sort of refine that form without Ronaldo. As an outsider looking in, what do you think about the Ronaldo situation? And do you think that the manager... You had a situation a few years ago, if I remember, under Sarri with Kepa about trying to bring him off, and there was a whole thing about player power and whether or not the manager dealt with that correctly. So you kind of do have an understanding of what's happened. But do you think Eric Ten Hag has made the right decision there with trying to get Ronaldo or show that Ronaldo is not bigger than the club?
To be honest, this reminds me more of. Do you remember the Carlos Tevez situation with Man City?
Yes, that's a very good one. Yeah.
Was it who was in charge?
He refused. I think it was Mark. It might have been either Marquez or Pellegrini. I think it was Marquez for some reason. He refused to come on.
Yeah, and they got rid of him not long after.
Yeah.
And to be fair, in terms of what Tevez was to Man City then as well, it's probably a similar thing. They don't have many legends. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think from our perspective, obviously, it's good and bad, because Ronaldo is Ronaldo. You know what I mean? Like, he can change a game in a heartbeat. He doesn't need to be in the game. He can change it in an instant. So for us, that's lost. We don't have to worry about them odd moments, but United are more fluid without him anyway. So it's whether or not do we have to worry about them big moments, or are we worried more about the fluidity that United have without Ronaldo? That's from an on-pitch perspective. And then in terms of like the situation with Ten Hag. I completely agree with him. Honestly, he needed to do, he needed to do it. Ronaldo is huge, that's why it split the fan base so much. If this was Harry Maguire, you know,
Yeah,
maybe Maguire. Maguire's got a bad rapport, but if this was Fred, for example, I know he's doing he's doing a lot better with your fans' kind of opinion of him. If this was Fred, for example, I don't think it would be as torn. I think people would be backing Ten Hag a lot more.
it's literally because it is Ronaldo, right? It's just
because
that
it's Ronaldo.
big name.
The name transcends the sport, whether we like it or not. We live in a world today where you say football and people instantly think Ronaldo, Messi, maybe Neymar. Paul will love that if he listens.
Yeah, definitely will.
Um,
But no, I must admit, I'm really happy that we finally got a manager that can make
got a
these
backbone.
decisions. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the big criticism we had under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was that he wouldn't make tough decisions in games like this or in moments like this. But now this is why I'm so shocked that we've got a manager that has made this tough decision. It's a very tough decision to leave your best, one of your best players out. So, I mean, I'm just looking in the comments here. We've got one of the comments here. Defo needed to be dropped. Ronaldo, to be honest, definitely needed to drop Ronaldo, to be honest. It's not fair on the moral of the rest of the team. I absolutely agree. The morale is the most important thing. And then Team Fred. So, yeah, you've already upset somebody.
That's it
And
with no player bigger than the club too. And it's completely true. Ronaldo's massive, but it's so true. As soon as Fergie said himself, as soon as a player becomes bigger than the club, they have to leave.
that's a really
Or at least
great quote that I've seen going around.
They think they're bigger than the club.
Yeah. Well, that's it. But I mean, for you guys, I suppose in some ways it's a good thing because I mean you've made a great analysis there. If Ronaldo's on the pitch, he can change the game in a heartbeat, even though he's not necessarily in the game. But you've also now got to worry about the fluidity. So I'm going to draw us back quickly to our last game against Tottenham Hotspur, which was by far our best performance of the season. We blew Tottenham Hotspur away, and if it was for better finishing from, or maybe arguably better finishing from Marcus Rashford. Or just the goalkeeper Hugo Lloris just had an absolute storm that day. He was so good, kept it very respectable, but we blew Tottenham Hotspurs away. Obviously you drew in your midweek game as well. Was that against Brentford? I think it was.
Brentford, yeah.
It's a big 2 points drop there. So now this fixture is really to decide who gets into the top four at this very early stage still of the season. But did you ever expect at the start of the season, I know I always give you grief about this, but at the start of the season when we did the predictions, you said that it's nailed on that Chelsea would be top four and they'd be joined by Man City, Liverpool, and I think, did you say Arsenal or Tottenham? I can't remember.
Spurs, yeah.
Yeah, you said it was nailed on. Do you change your mind ever so slightly now we're looking at 10 games in and you've got a new manager and there seems to be a resurgence from Manchester United?
No. I think obviously the Liverpool thing is a little bit. Maybe they'll clutch it. To be fair, they might still clutch it, and
I think they will. Yeah.
Klopp is still a good manager, whether we like it or not. I hate him in the media, but he's still a great manager.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Yeah, we have to give him that. So I think Liverpool could still clutch it, and I don't think we're going to lose out. To be honest, either. I'm not worried. The Arsenal Spurs thing is the one still for me. It's either Arsenal will drop off as the season progresses, as they push on all fronts, because they're doing fantastic right now. It's whether or not they can sustain this charge. I don't think they're going to win the title. Don't get me wrong, but if they can sustain this, then they're definitely going to be in there. But they're like one injury away from that team falling apart.
Yeah. We're all kind of just waiting for them to capitulate. And when they keep winning, it's like, when is this momentum going to stop? But fair play to them, 10 games in and, the top of the league. And I think they're 5 points clear of City now. 4 points clear of City. I mean, that's just crazy. But I must admit, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea didn't get top four this season. I really wouldn't. Now, that's not a slight necessarily. I just think because of the change that you've had, and I do think it's going to take time to implement change from Potter. Plus, also, I don't think you've got the best squad. I don't think the squad has ticked well. A lot of the victories have been sort of 1-0 or 2-0s or 2-1s. They've been very, very close. In terms of score-wise, they've been close. And even some of the games I've seen, it's sort of taken them till near the end to actually see it over. And I don't know how long you can sustain that for, if that can be over a whole season or if that's just whilst you're going through this transition. Although, under Tommy Tuchel, at the start of this season, you also did start very slowly, in my opinion. Certainly that opening sort of 2 or 3 games, it was very stagnant from Chelsea. The best performance I've actually seen of them came against Tottenham, and they were very, very unlucky not to come away with all 3 points in that one.
We got screwed in that game.
You did. I will agree with that. Just catch up on some of these comments here. Best performance in 5 years, JD. That's the obviously.
Pete makes a really good point in here. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Being light up front, we need a striker. Aubameyang, he can do it, but it's he can't at the same time. He's like Ronaldo, you know what I mean? He's capable of brilliance, but at the same time, like, are we better without him in the team?
No, I see. Just got a quick comment from Leeds Lounge as well. He's put 3-0, our only good result. Obviously, the Leeds Chelsea game. I mean, that shocked me. That score.
They battered us. They were all over us. We didn't know what to do with them.
Yeah, they were, and I'm really shocked. Sorry, Leeds Lounge. I'm really sorry. You're going to hate me for this. I'm sorry. I'm shocked at the drop off that Leeds have had, because under Jesse March at the beginning, I thought this team are going to finish near the top half of the table, not where they are now. So give it time. I'm sure they can turn it around. Not that I want them to, because obviously I don't like Leeds, but we'll see. Asif as well has said Ronaldo lost his credibility and ended up dividing the fan base. I agree, Asif. That's the most annoying thing, and it came after one of our best performances. And like Pete said, it's our best performance in 5 years. It was a time where Old Trafford was rocking. You could hear everyone just up and about, enjoying themselves. The players were having fun, and they were playing with swagger like the old Manchester United that we grew up seeing. And then for Ronaldo to take that spotlight and sort of just do what he did, for me, that was the most annoying thing. If we'd been losing that game or drawing that game, if it was Newcastle, I'd be a little less angry. The fact it was at a game where we were on a high and he kind of affected that's what annoyed me, and it became more of the talking point. I've not seen many posts talking about how great Manchester United were. I'm seeing so many posts about, has Eric Ten Hag got it right? Has Eric Ten Hag got it wrong? And we shouldn't be having that. And I know the irony of me talking about it is still stirring the pot there, but it is still a very frustrating, thing to be talking about. I'm just going to very quickly move on to the team news for tomorrow, in case people aren't aware of that. So I've just checked on some of the websites now. So for Manchester United, still no Martial. He's expected to miss out again. So he's missed roughly, I think it's about 90 to 95% of our games this season, which is an absolute travesty. So, I mean, we need a new striker in January. I'm kind of happy in a way that this Ronaldo thing's happened from that point of view, because I think now it gives us an incentive to go out and buy someone. But with Manchester United, you never know. Pete's just put, it's about us performing like that consistently now. Need to see it week in, week out. And this is a perfect game, to be fair, Pete. This is a perfect game for us to, to come in and really show what we can do against the Chelsea team that do have some injuries. So I will go over Chelsea's injuries list in a moment as well.
Was it the Liverpool game where you absolutely slapped Liverpool up, and then you just capitulated the game after?
No, we went on a 4-game winning streak.
Which game was it?
We played. Let me just think. It was Man City. We lost our opening 2 games of the season. He made all the changes for the Liverpool game. We went on a big winning streak, and then we lost to Man City. That was the only other team, and I think we lost in the Europa League to a dodgy penalty against Real Sociedad. Other than that, we've been.
No, I seem to remember, like, you came out, you played a blinder after you literally went in and slapped someone up. I can't think who it was.
No, I'm not sure, but say again.
What's up with Dennis Zakaria?
Dennis Zakaria, I mean, wow.
Man's just there for the ride. He's just there for the ride.
I was so like excited to see him in the Premier League, and all I've seen is pictures, and I'm thinking, is he just like a model now? Is he just modelling their kit? Because that's what he seems to be turned into. But that's a good point, Asif. Tom's joined the conversation. He's put Chelsea's about to get humbled. It's gonna happen. Wait till you hear the Chelsea team news. That's going to come in a second. Pete's also put here Anthony Medical Table Martial. We might as well just have that on the kit name for now. It's 90 or 95%, I think, roughly it works out at, that he's missed of the season. Katie's put here, gutted for Martial, but Gakpo is on his way. Anybody that watches this show knows this is the Gakpo show. He is coming soon. Very quickly as well, no Ronnie, obviously, but Christian Eriksen obviously came on tail end of that game, so he should be fit. Now, the big question, United fans, get your comments in, and this is going to be really funny to see. Fred or Eriksen to start tomorrow. Now, based on the fact that Fred put in an absolute blinder against Tottenham Hotspurs midweek, should he be taken out and Christian Eriksen put in, or do we stick with that winning team? Let me know in the comments. As well, I want to just put out a big shout out to the sponsors of today's show, which is Bold Tactics, which you can see in the top corner of your screen. It's boldtactics.com. Make sure you check out their website. They've just released a Manchester United-Chelsea preview for tomorrow's game. It's a fantastic analysis, as ever, humorous. I will share the article on Twitter straight after this stream, but you can check the link in the bio below and just give it a click. Support Joseph and the team there. They really appreciate it, as do we, for sponsoring us. So thank you, boldtactics.com. Now, the Chelsea team lineup. This is where things get crazy. So, Chelsea are expected to go into this game with no N'Golo Kante. Reece James is also expected to miss, as is Conor Gallagher and Fofana. That's a big chunk of players missing. That's like, they're all starters, right? Maybe N'Golo Kante, I'm not sure if he started much, but three big players that you've lost there.
Not so much Gallagher or Kante, to be fair. I mean, you know what? Like, I've heard people complain about Kante not playing and stuff like that, but man's injured all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. Like, I watched Irish guy. He's funny. He has some good takes, but he was telling Newcastle to go after Kante. And I'm like, bro, you're gonna pay him 300k a week to sit on the medical table.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's, don't get me wrong, he's still one of the best DMs in the world when he's fit and on form. But he's not. You know what I mean? Like, that's like rare. So
Yeah.
Kante definitely not so much. For Fofana, it sucks because obviously, he was kind of finding his feet. He's definitely found his feet faster than Koulibaly did when Koulibaly came in. But the biggest thing is Reece James.
Reece James is a huge loss. Something that's really excited me. I just want to put a shout out to Craig as well. Thanks for joining us this evening, Craig. Good to see you. We've just asked the question as well, Fred or Eriksen, who's going to start tomorrow? Who should start? Get that comment and let me see.
In the chat? Can we get a poll up in the chat, Jordan?
I'm not sure if we can. I can't do it on my screen, but you might be able to on yours.
We need a moderator here. What's going on?
It's going to be interesting to see. But Fofana being out might be a big miss. I think Rashford can use his pace in behind against Silva. Now, I know, Key, you're a huge Thiago Silva fanboy.
Thiago Silva is the smartest defender I've ever seen.
You haven't seen much of Lisandro Martinez this season, though, right?
But I've watched Ajax play. Like, you forget, I'm familiar with Erik Ten Hag before he came to United.
I know you're a big fan of Ajax football, yeah.
Yeah, Ajax play beautiful football, especially when Ten Hag was there. Not so much this season, the full team, but we're not here to talk about Ajax. We're not here to talk about Ajax. I actually have a friend who's an Ajax fan, and he's dying inside right now.
Just shows that, because a lot of people said, Ajax are a nothing team. They're just sort of the best team in the Eredivisie, and that's it. But now you've taken Erik Ten Hag out of there, and they've lost a lot of good players as well, but they have replaced them with other good players, and they are really struggling.
I think the big thing for Ajax is they didn't, firstly, Andre Onana, they had him, and then the drugs test, and then they were out without him. and they haven't replaced him now. They've lost him either. And then defense too. They don't have defenders who are physical, tall enough, or good in the air. That's why they're chipping in so many goals.
Yeah, that's true.
And Anthony was a big part of their attacking output too. So yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and have a look here. Sorry to cut you off. There's quite a few comments just coming all at once there. So Tom's put, I genuinely think after seeing that performance against Tottenham, Chelsea should be worried, all depending if we give the same energy. Now, that's the question, whether or not we can.
Yeah.
Personally, I think we will. I think we will really go at Chelsea. We've got nothing, we've kind of got nothing to lose. If we play slow, we don't do well, and we know that. So, and Eric Ten Hag knows that. They actually released a group of statistics that showed how much our press and how much running our players are doing now, which is good. We almost doubled it from the Brentford to Tottenham game, which is good to see. Craig's also put, I would start Eriksen. He offers that composure in midfield, and I trust him more than. I think he meant to put, I trust him more than Fred, to be honest. Yeah, Fred's so erratic, but on his day he can produce madness. But yeah, he's so erratic. Katie's put Martinez. Yeah, he's weird. It's just the lack of consistency is mad. There's no in between with Fred. He's either world class or League Two. Yeah, it's really bad.
It's like Trent.
Oh, Trent. That was something I was going to say about Reece James. That's something that I'm really happy about. That me and you've been calling it out for years about the Trent. And, yeah. And we've finally got to see that Reece James is better than Trent in that position. So.
You know, I've been calling out for Liverpool to sign a right back for the longest time, though. Like, just play Trent in that Henderson role in midfield, sign a right back. Because Trent, from a passing perspective, he's fantastic. Dead ball, fantastic. Attacking, fantastic. You ask him to defend, bro, that's like his primary job, and he can't do it.
Yeah. So going into this game, we kind of should, I think as Manchester United fans, we should be expecting to go into this with a lot of confidence. Came on the back of a very, very convincing win against Tottenham Hotspurs, against a very defensive setup as well. But we cut through them like a knife through butter. Pete's put here, the press versus Tottenham from us was superb. It really, really was. It was brilliant. Asif's also put, Leo Castadine joins Chelsea's senior team. How good is he? I'm kind of curious to know what Chelsea is cooking.
To be honest, I haven't really kept up to date with the younger the academy players and the reserve squad, so to speak. So I genuinely couldn't tell you. I know Chelsea Twitter is kind of excited about it, but yeah, we'll see. So I'll be honest with you, I can't really say much.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I've not heard of Leo Castadine, so I'll have to check him out after the game. I'm really looking forward to this one tomorrow. So, based on the fact that Chelsea have all these injuries, they're, I think, quite big injuries and quite significant injuries, to be honest. I know you say about Gallagher, but he really rescued you guys. Oh yeah, without a doubt, Reece James speaks for itself.
And it's not just Chelsea. It's not just Chelsea, by the way, because it hinders the
does impact England. Yeah, it does impact England massively. I mean, there's some big losses certainly in that position in the World Cup. But sticking on this particular game, Conor Gallagher I think is a big loss, because I think he's always someone good for you guys to chuck on if you need that goal late on. But N'Golo Kante, I mean, I don't know, I've not seen much of him, to be fair, this season, but in past seasons his reputation kind of precedes him. Let me just have a look here. Academy players do normally make it through at Chelsea. I don't normally make it through at Chelsea. Yeah,
I think that's a myth now. Like, you look at the squad, and they're getting, especially since Frank, they're getting a lot more chances.
Who you guys are in the? I can know obviously Reece James came through the academy.
Yeah, Reece and Mace are obviously the ones that are
Mace Mount,
the big starters. You know,
Gallagher as well
Gallagher, yeah, Bro year 2. You know,
yeah,
like
Bro, I like him.
The ones that have taken the chances. I hated him the other day. He should have squared it to Mount. That was an easy tap in. Man needs to sharpen up. You know, Even
But he hasn't had the game time though. You could argue. I mean, they've been very reluctant to play Brozier. I mean, he had a fantastic campaign last year at Southampton. I only saw him play a couple of times, obviously against us, and he tore. Not that it's too difficult, but he tore Harry Maguire to shreds. He turned Harry Maguire, if you remember, into a meme that game. The no look defending. You know, he really tore Harry Maguire apart that day.
Yeah, no, Craig, you make a good point. Like they did only get the chances because of the transfer embargo, but you know, like it doesn't change anything. You know what I mean? Like it happened. You know, the embargo happened. The academy players, and it's kind of brought in a new like generation, so to speak, where like the academy players are getting Loftus-Cheek now, to be fair, he played under Sarri too, and he played a little bit. But man, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is a machine.
Yeah, they're good players. To be fair, I am with kind of with Pete and Craig on this though, because other than Reece James and Mason Mount, I can't really think of many that play for you guys. I know Gallagher's a sub and Brozier's a sub, but other than that, there's Ruben Loftus-Cheek has been a bit part player. You know, he's sort of.
To be fair, in this season and towards the end of last season, he's been really regular.
And there's the other guy. I think one of the lads you're selling as well. You're looking at selling. He was Chabaloa as well. I don't know if he's already gone.
Chalobah as well. Yeah, I completely forgot about Chalobah.
Yeah, Chalobah. He looked like he was going to be a really important part of the team, but there was a lot of talk in the summer that he was going to be sold. But yeah, I don't know. I do think the embargo was definitely the push that helped Chelsea or made Chelsea realise that.
Yeah, no.
But I don't think it's. I don't think Chelsea are in the same league as Liverpool and Manchester United yet in terms of promoting youth, but they're on the right path.
But like, to be fair, like, did you say United or City?
United.
But like, look at who are Liverpool bringing in other than Trent? Like,
Liverpool have got
Harvey Elliott. They bought Harvey Elliott. Like,
but what I mean is not necessarily this season, but you look at past seasons. They had like Ryan Brewster was playing quite frequently for them,
but he got
and a couple of the he didn't make it. He got sold, but there was a more of a consistent basis. Even a couple of the defenders, they weren't very good. There was Nat Phillips, and they didn't quite make the mold, but they were given seemingly more of an opportunity. What Chelsea did. What Chelsea seem to do is they put a lot of their players out on loan, which is obviously absolutely fine, and a lot of them are actually really decent players. They could play regular football at a Fulham or even higher up, maybe well, not now, but a Leicester or a Villa. You know, they could play regular in those kinds of teams, but then they're sort of left at Chelsea on the bench or in the reserve team. And I do understand that argument as well. Like, I can't really sit here and say that Chelsea have produced many first team regulars from their academy.
I think that's a myth. I genuinely do. I think if you look at our first team lineup and look at the United lineup tomorrow, and even a fully fit United lineup versus a fully fit Chelsea lineup, there will be more academy graduates from the Chelsea lineup than there would be in the United lineup.
In what way?
Like academy graduates, like if we had, wasn't Nat Phillips and Reece Williams like all time. Anyway, so like look at if there was a fully fit Chelsea lineup versus a fully fit United lineup tomorrow, there will be more Chelsea graduates in that lineup than there will the United lineup.
I wouldn't even say. I mean, maybe tomorrow. Well, even tomorrow, maybe not. But you look over the last 3 or 4 seasons, in recent history, you've got Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, you've Scott McTominay in the midfield. You've got. I'm trying to think who else. We've always got people like Shola Shoretire coming on quite a few times last season. Garnacho's always sort of pushing. You've got a lot. You look at our bench. It's made up. We always have at least 2 or 3 youth players on there. I think
that argument applies for Chelsea before the embargo. I think it's a different Chelsea since the embargo.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting to see, but based on what I see, I find it very difficult to disprove that myth. But like I said, I'm happy to be wrong on it. But from what I can see, I'm not sure. But we'll move on. So your score predictions for tomorrow's game. What do you think?
I think it'll be a draw.
Hmm.
I don't think any team is the clear winner today. Like I know United fans are riding this what's it, but it's whether or not they can keep the consistency.
Yeah.
And Chelsea aren't looking like the team that's gonna take the game. You know what I mean? I don't think there's a clear winner in this game, to be honest with you.
No, I
Um,
kind of agree with you on that point. I do think it's going to be a very, very tight game, whether or not
I
one
think
team
it's the
nicks it.
first time. I think it's the first time in a few seasons that neither team has really looked like the winner. You know what I mean?
Hmm. No, I can understand that argument. I do think if we turn up with the same energy as we did against Spurs, honestly, that team I think could beat anybody on their day. They looked incredible, and I'm still gassed about it. I know I'm still riding high on that mad game, but honestly, it was insane. And I think if we turn up to Stamford Bridge with that energy, it could easily be a 2 or a 3-0 to United. But I don't know if we will. It's always the big thing with Man United. So I'm going to go with either a 1-0 United or a 1-1. Just going to have a look at some of these comments. My score prediction is 1-0 United. I think it'll be a good match if United can keep the pace they had against Spurs. And I'd like to see the same team, to be honest, other than swapping Fred for Eriksen. Pete's put here, starting players possibly, only because we're waiting for the right chances to give our youngsters the right environment to thrive. That's another point I was going to bring up, going back to our past debate, was Chelsea have been in a more solid position for the past few seasons. They've had maybe not last seasons, but definitely the last two. They've had a stable manager. They've been a tight, they've been pushing for more things than Manchester United. We've sort of been hoping to scrape into the top four, and I mean scraping in. Chelsea have sort of been pushing for Champions Leagues. Obviously, you won one a couple of seasons ago. You've been pushing for FA Cups and League Cups. We aren't in any of those kind of positions yet. We're maybe a season or two off. So I think Pete's got a good point there.
I think there's a cup run this season for you.
I think this season maybe.
Yeah,
I think maybe. Eric Ten Hag has really sort of changed my outlook on United this season.
Yeah.
I was a bit negative towards the start, and I think I was right to be like that because they were poor.
I said it when you guys hired him though. Like Ten Hag is going to be the closest thing to Fergie that you've had since Fergie left.
Yeah,
and
you did. I remember that. Yeah.
And he's proven it. Like Ten Hag is a fantastic manager, and he likes to have his fingers in many pies at once. He likes to have a say in a lot of things, and he likes to have a lot of control.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that I am happy about on that note, you just made me think there. It's really nice to see. We don't give the board praise a lot, rightfully so in my opinion, but it's nice to see that they've actually backed a manager on their decision this time. So it has been reported today that the board 100% support Erik Ten Hag's response to the Ronaldo fallout. So fair play, credit where it's due. It's not long lasting, and it's the bare minimum that we expect, but at least you did it. I'm just going to quickly run through some more of these score predictions. Tom's got a 2-0 United win. Craig's going with a 2-1 United. We might concede from a jammy goal, but I think our back four will be as solid as usual. I love the defence of Man United at the moment. They have been Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez. Mwah, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Tom, I'm going to be honest, I do think United have looked a lot better than Chelsea. I do. I'm going to be honest, I'm not biased at all. I will always call out when I think Man U have been poor. But since the Brentford game when we got absolutely demolished, I think we've looked head and shoulders above Chelsea from the Chelsea I've seen. But I haven't seen much of them under Potter. I've just been keeping a tab on the scores.
To be honest, I think the style of play has changed during Potter. I mean, we haven't been playing fantastic, but like you said, we've been edging out them 1-0s, them 2-0s, them 2-1s, and they're the things that get you in Championship, like contention. They're the things that they take you to a Champions League final. I'm not saying we're going to get there, but they're
No.
winning ugly and winning dirty. They're the
winning when you're not at your best, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Like against
digging deep.
Exactly. the game at the weekend, we didn't deserve to win that game against Villa. They were so much better than us for the most part. Like, and 2-0. Maybe Tyrone Mings kind of helped us a little bit, but they are the games that change a season.
Yeah.
You look at Liverpool, for example. What was it? They won 9-0. They won 9-0.
And then go on a barely win a game until the
The Rangers
City game. Well, in the Prem, it was the City game, yeah.
Yeah, so they've won big, but they still haven't looked like they're gonna kick on and start making a difference.
No consistency.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm very lucky as well to come away with 3 points against West Ham
Yeah.
yesterday as well. Penalty was missed. Let's have a look here. Asif's put United 2-1. Instinctive. We lack the striker, and that is our weakness. To be honest, I'm going to go with a very similar squad that we played against Tottenham. I think Rashford's going to be playing down the middle. Interested to see what he does against Silva. Obviously,
I think we're going to play a
back
back five tomorrow.
Back five, so
Yeah.
it's going to be so fascinating to watch United trying to break down the Chelsea team. But for me, I'm going to go with either a 2-1 United or a 1-1 draw. I can't see us losing this game. I'd be very shocked if we
I
didn't
think
come
the
away
battle's in
with
the
at least a
midfield.
point. That's the thing, and it all depends on if we are going with Fred, which could well happen, and I wouldn't be shocked if Fred started tomorrow. It's whether or not we get Fred of the Tottenham Hotspur game or Fred of the Newcastle game, because if we get the Newcastle game Fred, we know what's coming. But thank you so much for joining us tonight, Kean. Thank you to everybody in the comments. It's been lovely to see so many of you commenting in and getting your thoughts heard. But tomorrow's going to be a very interesting. I think it's a 5:15 or 5:30 kickoff tomorrow.
Yeah, I think 5:30 kickoff. I can double check.
I've got a quick comment here from Asif. JD, what's your take on Rashford's performance so far? Now, I'm a big advocate of Rashford this season. There is a video dropping in about 15 minutes time. That's why we're ending the stream early. So make sure you check out our YouTube. There is a video on the rise and fall of Marcus Rashford, and it's sort of a fact-based and evidence-based detailing his career so far as a footballer. So make sure you check that out, Asif. I think you'll really like that. But my based on your question, what's your take on Rashford's performance? I think he's been really good this season. Really enjoyed watching him. I found him very frustrating at times, certainly with his defensive work. He needs to study more from Anthony, because Anthony tracks back, he does all that defensive stuff. Rashford still hasn't got that yet, and I don't think he ever will, because he's however many seasons in he is now, he's still never been good defensively. But I'm impressed, and I hope he starts tomorrow. He should definitely start tomorrow. He kind of has to. We've got no one else. Rashford has to try and get in behind Thiago Silva, kind of stay as close to him as possible so he can get a chance in behind. That's going to be a key battle. That's going to be a really, really key battle. That's where Rashford thrives, is when he can get in behind the defence. And if they play a deep line, if they play a low block, we're going to really struggle. We always struggle to break down that low block. It's sort of become
Rashford is the only United player that I'm worried about, and it's not even because he's on good form, because I'm not worried about that. He always comes to haunt us. Always.
He loves a goal against Chelsea.
Yeah.
I remember that free kick he scored a few seasons ago.
Phenomenal.
It was unreal. I remember he lined it up and I was like, what is he doing? He never scores free kicks. What's he playing at? And then woof, top corner, beautiful. Dwight is putting in the comments, hello boys, hello Dwight, nice to see you in the comments. Get your comments
Dwight
in.
made a podcast.
Dwight is joined. So we've nearly got a full house. We've got Tom, we've got Dwight and you back. It's the original shoestring budget podcast crew, which is nice to see. We're all back together.
I think tomorrow is a massive decision. Battle of the goalkeepers too. Not necessarily in terms of who's going to be on more form, but for Spain.
Oh yeah, okay,
because current form, Kepa is easily first choice.
On current form.
Kepa
over David De Gea.
Yeah, Kepa's been phenomenal.
No, I'm not having that. I am
if
never.
We're looking at career, if we're looking at career, absolutely De Gea is the best. But on current form, Kepa is by far the best keeper.
No, I refuse to accept that. There's not a chance that Kepa has been better this season than David De Gea. Granted, I haven't watched Worlds of him, but David De Gea has been, just as good as ever.
I promise you, like Kepa is phenomenal this season. It's
He's only played
insane.
a few games though, right?
Yeah.
But you can't base it
So
on 2 or 3
pretty
games.
much. No. He's played pretty much every game since Potter came in.
So what?
Eight
That's
games.
5 games.
Eight
8
games.
games.
8 games. 5 clean sheets. 3 goals conceded.
Nah,
I think
I'm not buying
that
it.
Kepa is in the form of his life right now. I promise you.
Craig's put in the
He
comments, Kepa's form better fall off a cliff, I swear to God.
see, but he's scared. He's scared because Sanchez will get no. Sanchez isn't getting started. You got Sanchez is a good keeper, but he's not starting over
Both over
Kepa or
them.
De Gea. Yeah,
I can't even believe we're bringing
Unai
Kepa up because that man was
Unai Seaman
finished.
too. Unai Seaman too. Like Spain
Yeah,
are
he's
big.
yeah.
Yeah, they're big fans of players that.
Although Pete, I do agree, Sanchez is a fantastic keeper.
Yeah.
Every game I've seen him play, I think he's been great.
Raya too. Raya is doing good for Brentford.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Mhm.
Got here, ain't no way. Boy just said that. See, I'm not getting involved in this. Kepa over De Gea, he's having a laugh.
Watch him. I promise you. This Kepa right now is in World Cup form.
You know what? I bow to your football wisdom, but I really do struggle to agree with that. I cannot understand how
it makes me laugh saying it because it's like saying it is like, why am I even saying this? Like I shouldn't be able to say this, but I promise you, Kepa is in like the best form he's ever been in.
I think maybe that's fair. Okay, maybe the best form he's ever been in, but to say that he's in better form than De Gea,
He is. Like there are definitely calls for him to be the starter.
I'm really shocked. So I've got a couple of comments here. Pete's put about I think it was about Sanchez, better distribution than both of them. Yeah, that's the weak thing for De Gea is his distribution, but he's transformed as a keeper this season though. Like De Gea's always had this sort of stigma that he stands on the line and never sort of does anything, but this season he's been more like a sweeper keeper this season, and he's been playing out from the back a lot more, which is something that wasn't in his locker before. But yeah, I'm intrigued, man. Like I say, I'm not.
He has always been good at evolving.
Yeah, like I said, I said in my last stream that that saying you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but De Gea has proven that wrong. But like I said, I can't profess to have seen much of Kepa, so I'll obviously you've seen more of him, so I'll bow to your wisdom there. But we'll see how the season.
Like here,
progresses.
like Craig said, like he's in a purple patch. Is that not what you want when you're going into a tournament? Like, do you want a player that's going to be in immaculate form for 3 weeks?
Do you? Because if you look at his. No, but if you look at his track record, and he's been pretty average for Chelsea, I think it's fair to say he's never sort of.
He was solid under Sarri. He wasn't fantastic. He was solid under Sarri. Barring the incident during the League Cup final, but under Sarri he was pretty solid. Lampard hated him. Tuchel wasn't a big fan either. To be fair, Mendy was in world class form when he came in. But no, like if you're taking a player to the World Cup, you want a player that's in a purple patch. You want a player that's in the form of their life.
Yeah, I get that to an extent, but then how long does that purple patch last? Surely you want consistency, because if you want someone like De Gea's had the odd game where he hasn't played well, but consistently, I'd say in 90% of his games he has been, a solid keeper. I can't think of him he's never been sort of benched for a long period of time, other than that season we had Dean Henderson come in. But Dean Henderson sort of, glad he's having a terrible time at the minute, to be fair. But do you know what? On that note, I will bow down to wisdom because the comments are fascinating. Of course, you want a player that's in form, but don't overhype him based on a few good performances. De Gea has been consistent for years. Kepa has been the opposite of consistent. That's the kind of the point I'm making as well.
That's what you want for a tournament, though. You want, especially for a small tournament, you want a player that's in form. That's what people are calling for Southgate. He plays his favourites. Should he be playing his favourites? He should be playing players in form, right?
But this is where I'm saying it's not a case of he should be playing players that are in form over players that aren't in form. So, for example, playing Trent over Reece James would be completely wrong because Reece James is not only a better player, but he's also in better form. Playing, taking up, not letting Jadon Sancho at the time of the England games have a spot, even though he was in form. That's where the argument is, not necessarily because they're having a purple patch. It's who is the better or who is the better player. And this is where I think I disagree with you. That I don't think that Kepa is better than De Gea. I don't necessarily mean that Kepa's having a bad season, and I don't think he's. But to say just because a player's in form for a little blip should overtake a player that's been in form for years, I don't think that's fair. Or someone that's been plays at such a high level that
Kepa hasn't. Sorry, not Kepa. De Gea hasn't been Spain's #1 keeper. And neither is Kepa, to be fair. Like, for the past few seasons, it's not been either of them.
No, I get that. I totally get that.
Yeah.
But De Gea plays at such a high level. I mean, he's been our player of the year however many times over the past few seasons. He's saved us so many times. Kepa hasn't necessarily been given that opportunity at Chelsea. But to say that just because he's in good form, he deserves to be over De Gea, who's consistently decent or good. He's had the odd blip, but he's consistently good. That's the bit I disagree with you on. I think
we'll see. I think given the football that they want to play with, given the play that Spain are going to want to play during the World Cup too, they want to play a goalkeeper who can distribute the ball. And Kepa is good. That's why he's in the team. That's why Potter picked him. He wants distribution with his goalkeeper, and Mendy can't do that. Obviously, Mendy is also in terrible form.
Like I said, I really enjoyed discussing this with you, and Katie's put in the comments, fight. No, it's not an argument. It's a really good debate, and I'm really interested to hear a Chelsea fan's perspective on their keeper because, I don't watch them, so I don't know. Asif's also put here, what is the Chelsea strength for tomorrow's game? Can you answer that question, Katie? What is Chelsea's biggest strength going into this game?
Midfield. Physicality in that midfield. Like, if you look Kovacic, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek too, because Loftus-Cheek has been really good this season. He's had a really under the mount. I've just read Craig say mount. That's why I already. Kovacic and Ruben Loftus-Cheek are like, they're the biggest issues with the midfield. If United can't stop them from bringing that ball up, then they're going to struggle. And I think that's going to be our biggest strength in the attack. Defensively, like, I'm not going to say we're sound because we have like leaked some chances, but that's why Kepa's been so good, because when we have leaked them chances, he's saved that. Bro, how can you hate Mason Mount? Honest to God. Like, I think he's been a bit arrogant.
There was a really funny thing with Tom, right? And I have actually clipped it. It's on. You
I
can
watched
see it.
I watched it.
Yeah, you can watch it.
He's not been in form. I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. And that was for me.
Understand.
Made no sense. Like when Southgate took Mount to the friendlies. I'm like, why is Mount in the team? Like, he's a good player, but he's not been good enough. He's really not been good enough this season. He's been better in the past few games. He's been better in the past few games under Potter, but no, I don't think Mount's form as the season overall hasn't justified him going to the World Cup, and he's definitely not been like the difference maker for us. The guy's a ballet dancer.
I love that. Asif's put, you mean Tuchel was wrong by dropping Kepa? Do you think he was wrong to make that decision?
I mean, Tuchel didn't drop Kepa, it was Lampard.
Yeah, Lampard, to be fair, he
absolutely, because Mendy was in impeccable form.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching Mendy. He did fall off a cliff a little bit, bless him, but
absolutely.
Right, well, that will wrap everything up for tonight, guys. We are going to get another video out in the next 5 minutes, so make sure you check us out on Twitter It's the rise and fall of Marcus Rashford. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check that out. That will be coming out in a minute. And I can see the comments are going crazy. But I would like to say, Keith, thank you. It's been lovely having you back on and debating football. It's been nice to have someone that's got a completely different opinion to me and to other people. So I'm really thankful that you've given us some insight.
Paul on this? Why are we not getting Paul on this?
Paul's run scared, but we will get him on one day.
Yeah, as if, but I mean, Tuchel never picked him because Mendy was in like impeccable form. Like it's like this situation with Henderson and De Gea. Like, why would you pick Henderson if De Gea is like playing world class? You know,
That's
it makes
thing,
no sense.
Well, I just want to put a big shout out to Tom and Dwight in the comments. Hashtag Glazer out, absolutely Glazer out. And also Tom's followed that up with hashtag Mount out as well. Tom is the CEO of the... What? Oh, no, let's not even start that.
I'm fucking with you.
Let's not even start that.
Would, to be fair, like Mason Mount, though, seriously, the work he does, like, off the ball is so important to so many teams. Like, because he sets the press and things, and people just like let that go under the radar. You know, and
I like Mason Mount, to be honest. I think he's a decent player.
He hasn't been good this season. Like he's been really good, but like we look at his numbers. There's a massive debate on Chelsea Twitter. It's the funniest thing, but Mount has been like the one player that's like consistently stepped up since we've lost Hazard. That's like. Change things. Like he's been our biggest goal involvement and stuff, but yeah, that's where
it's gonna be an interesting game. I'm looking forward to it. But thank you as ever for having you on. Big shout out to everyone in the comments. Pete's put great show, JD. Thanks, Pete. Nice one, mate. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for Dwight, Tom, Craig, Asif. Thank you. And,
great. Don't push it, Dwight. Don't push it, bro.
Oh my gosh. Right. On that note, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
All right.